Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Eden Podcast. Welcome to episode 3. My name's
Woohoo.
Mark. I'm one of the worship leaders here at Eden Church. I'm joined today by Pastor Daniel. Hey, Daniel, good to see you again.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're back at it again. We're doing another one.
That's right. 3
Another one.
podcasts, Mark. I feel like this is a thing for us now.
I know. We're getting into the rhythm of it. We really appreciate your feedback and all the comments and all the suggestions that you have. So
We are blowing up on this
I know,
podcast.
I know, it's exciting. But yeah, shout out to everyone that commented. We love being able to hear your feedback. We will always want to feel like you are part of the conversation as well. So any feedback is well appreciated.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the man who is living in the shadows of this podcast, but is all part of the process of getting it done. Who is that, Mark?
Mr. Tommy Nguyen, thank you so much for putting this together. We
Yeah,
really
he does all
appreciate
the
it.
editing. Shout out, Tommy. Appreciate you, man. Well, Mark, what are we
Yeah.
talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be talking about community, the power of groups, the power of being able to do life with other people. We had a message about it in our Holy series that we were wrapping up. Thanks for sharing a word on that.
Yeah, so we talked about groups. This is like the season in our church where we encourage people to get into a group because we have seen so many good things happen as a result of the connections that are made through that group. And so we thought, okay, on the back end, as part of like the keep the conversation going portion of it, I wanted to just like kind of talk about the power of community in general.
Yeah.
And Mark, when I look at your life, I see someone who is connected. You may be the most well-connected person I know. You are intentional about your relationships. Even though last time we were on the podcast, you said if you don't want to do something, you just tell people you're busy. But besides
I'll
that,
find a new excuse.
besides that fact, Mark, because you've been so intentional with your building of community, can you share with us what the 3 P's are of building a strong community?
The 3 P's.
Yeah.
Is this something that I should have known? Like, I don't know. I was going to say something like it takes time, but that doesn't sound
Okay. T.
But you said P's.
Okay. What are the 3 principles
Oh,
of
the 3 It's
offhand?
a pop quiz.
The first 3 words that come to mind.
Okay, so it doesn't have to start with P.
It doesn't have to start with P anymore. First one is time.
Time, yeah. Authenticity.
Authenticity. T-A.
Time, authentic. I think just being open.
T-A-O. That doesn't spell anything, Mark.
No, you can make it find something. I've been playing a lot of a word hunt, so you could probably make some word out of that.
Okay. No, okay. All right. That was kind of a joke. But let's really talk about community.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it? Why does it matter?
I feel like I would not be who I am today without community, like people in my life that have been able to just be with me through tough stuff, or who I've been able to just grow together with and to share struggles in my life with. I really feel like that's something that God's really used to help make me who I am today. Like, I don't think I'd be here without community. So
And then maybe that's like that brings up a great point. Like, there is a difference between having relationships with people and being in community with people. What do you think is the distinction between relationships and what we call community, or what you have in mind when you use the word community?
I think when I think of community, I think of regularity. Like, there's some sort of rhythm of hanging out or getting together or talking to each other, where I feel like a lot of times for me with my relationships with my friends, you might go a couple weeks or months without seeing them.
Yeah.
Whereas when I think of community, like, these are people that I'm seeing every week. Or even before, in the olden days, there would be people I'd be seeing like 3 or 4 times a week, and that was just normal. Like, that's how involved we were in each other's lives. So,
and do you think that the regularity of your connection with them, or seeing them, was a picture of the type of influence they had in your life?
I think the way that I see it is like, the more time you're with someone, the eventually who you really are is gonna come out. I think especially for me, I remember in college when I was living with my friends, I really feel like who you're living with, like, that's you at your most I don't know if vulnerable is the right word, but that's like who you are
Yeah, yeah,
when you first wake up in the morning, when
yeah,
you're stressed out, when you're tired, and that's a picture of really like deep down who you are. Like
yeah,
I feel like it's hard to fake, to put on this face 24/7. So I think like for me, when I think of community, that's kind of like the first thing I think about is like my friends that I was living with in college, because that it's so hard to fake
yeah.
who you are when you're around people that much. So I think going back to the original question is it really is like it's not. I think it's more about what they're seeing, what you're being able to show them
Mm-hmm.
through what you do is. And I guess in some way that is influence because you are kind of allowing them in
Yeah.
to your life to that degree. But I think that it's really hard to fake who you are when you're living together with people. And
Yeah. So you appreciate the kind of like the peeling back of the onion, so to
oh,
speak.
I don't
Like,
appreciate it, but
but
I
that's where
think
you found the
yeah, but
value
that's
in
where
those
it
relations.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I think that's so good. I think, man, we all, it's really hard to live without those kind of relationships. And it's not
yeah,
like you need 100 of those,
no,
but having a few people where you can kind of be your true self,
yeah,
and then also know that like that person's not going to go out and gossip about you. They're not
mm-hmm.
going to talk about you. They're not going to judge you,
Yeah,
but it's a chance for you to kind of be who you are and still be accepted.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that's powerful. I'm going to say this quote, and I'm kind of nervous saying it because well, not because I forgot the quote last time that I was going to say, but because I think it could be a controversial thing. But I'm just going to say it not because I necessarily think that it's true in terms of like research, because it wasn't
mm-hmm.
stated in that way, but it rings true.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy is a theologian, and he has a friend who was a psychiatrist who was retired, and he said the psychiatrist made this statement. He said nearly every case of mental health had to do with some form of isolation, and he said that there is a radical connection between being isolated and like your own personal mental health. And I feel that like when
Mm-hmm.
I am disconnected from people, I don't feel as there's something about, now obviously there are introverts, extroverts, and I'm an extrovert, I think. And so I do get energy from people, but I think what we saw even during COVID, that even introverts were like longing for that human connection and that human
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
And there's a certain weight that people carry when they're in isolation from one another.
yeah. And if you haven't listened to the message, please, we encourage you to go back, listen to it. It's up on our YouTube channel. It's on
Yes.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. But I really like the point that you made when you talked about the difference between isolation and solitude.
Mm,
And I think that sometimes we can use those terms interchangeably, but I think that
yeah.
they are very different things. But I totally agree. I'm definitely one of those introverts that realized how important I needed people. Because at first, when it was me being, when we were told to stay home and we're going to be working from home and church is going to be online, I was actually really excited.
All the introverts like, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I don't have to introduce myself to anyone else anymore.
No more small
I don't have
talk.
to go out. Yeah, no more small talk. So I was really and to be fair, I was living with my friends too, so it wasn't like I wasn't seeing anyone, and
Right.
so we would still hang out all the time, and we'd play, play video games together and stuff. So it wasn't like I was just alone.
Right.
But after a while, though, that did start to get old, and I was definitely missing being able to go hang out with my other immediate, outside of the immediate people I was living with. Like I definitely started missing that. So I feel like in some ways that kind of broke me. I had a friend who, I don't know if she tweeted it or if it was on her Instagram, but she was kind of saying how she was saying, imagine if it was the other way around and we had to be around people.
Mm,
That's how the extroverts feel right now.
yeah.
And I was like, man, I would, if I was forced to be around people all the time, like that would be rough. So
Yeah.
I found a new level of empathy, I think, for people who were
Yeah, I feel like
missing human interaction.
no, that's good. Yeah, I mean, and isolation is a challenging thing, and obviously, like being alone can fill people's cups and re-energize
Yeah.
them. But I think that there are some things that keep certain people from being willing to step into community.
Yeah.
And what my experience has told me is that there is usually some level of fear around
Mm-hmm.
it. So there may be like social anxieties,
Mm-hmm.
and there are just some people who don't think that they do well around other people. Like there's,
Yeah.
and I feel this all the time. Like, and you know, I'm so thankful for my wife because she's able. I'm like, it's a sounding board for me, but I can think of so many times where I've been in a group setting where I like walk away and just constantly think about, oh, what did I say? And oh, what
Yeah.
do they think about, you know, what I
Yep.
said here, or I didn't mean what I said. And,
Yeah.
you know, just constantly questioning yourself in those social. And so I think sometimes those fears actually keep people from taking
Yeah.
that risk of being in community with other
Yeah.
people.
Or like there's been pain in the past where like you've joined a community and it bitten you, like it's come back to
Yeah.
bite you, or you've been hurt. And I don't know.
I
I
get
totally get
that.
that. Yeah.
I get that. No, I get that 100%.
Yeah.
I guess the question though is like, when, like if we know that being alone is not good for us long
Yeah.
term, but we've also experienced that pain of, you know, being in community with people who have hurt us, how do we take that step to like try again?
Yeah. I mean, I think to some point, like you gotta give yourself, right. You can't just we can't force anyone
Right.
to jump into that if they don't feel ready. But I also think that you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
So if I'm in a group and I don't really contribute anything and I don't stay to hang out, like when we were hanging out in person, like if I only showed up from the allotted times of the group and then I just immediately left and I didn't linger, like you don't get out. It's not the same like when everyone else is gonna go grab food after. And
Yeah.
if you don't make that sacrifice initially to be in those uncomfortable situations, like I do think that there's only so much that you're gonna get.
Yeah. And it's hard though. I mean,
Yeah.
I in church I feel real comfortable
Mhm.
like around this community.
Yeah.
But that is not me outside of that. Like I am not,
Yeah.
if I break into a conversation, it's because I'm like really trying to be intentional. But man, I learned something so powerful from a mother at my kid's school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was like we both came in the same year, but we had come in about with our kids,
Mm-hmm.
come in about 6 months earlier than she did with her kids. And I remember I hadn't really like connected with any of the other parents. I mean, there's probably a few that I connected with, but by and large, I wasn't like, you know, making my rounds whenever we were hanging around the parents. But I remember the first day that she came with her daughter, she literally went around to every parent and said, "Hi, my name is Vivian. What's your name?"
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, I mean, that was so powerful.
Yeah.
Just taking, you know, I don't know if she was naturally like that or whatever, but from my perspective, I thought, man, that was really a great way just to
Yeah.
you know, just like a simple introduction, a willingness to meet people.
That's true. Is she from here though? I feel like that's like such not a like Bay Area.
She is
Silicon
from
Valley.
North Carolina.
Oh, okay. See, that makes a lot more sense though, because I feel like
That's it. Yeah.
I don't talk to strangers normally. Like,
Yeah.
and that does not make me feel comfortable, and that's just something that I'm not used to. So I feel like
know.
it's
You know,
something about this area. I
that
think
is in this
Yeah.
area. And I'm not going to use the strong word that came to mind right now, but I dislike that.
Yeah.
I dislike that because, and I get it. Everybody's got to do their own thing and be who they are. But I do think we miss out on actually feeling like community around the people we live, because it's so easy for us to not be connected to other people.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
No, it's bad. When I go grocery shopping, like I have my headphones in,
Yeah.
self checkout, so I like as minimal human interaction.
Yeah.
But even like growing up, like I never really like hung out in the neighborhood, never really talked to like the people living around me.
Yeah.
Either. So that's just what I know. So
That's-
and that's abnormal.
Yeah.
Because that's not what you see like on TV, like how literally like communities are.
I
Like,
know.
that's not really a community then if people aren't talking to each other.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know what the solution is to that. Well, you know, the other day we were took the kids outside, and it was like the best feeling, because the kids were running around and they're so loud. My kids are so, I mean, they're screaming, and there's like a little courtyard, so all the sounds echo off. Anyways, I had one person on one side like open up their sliding door, and he came out and just from his balcony was just like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And it's someone that had lived in the complex for a while. And then on the other side, a lady who also tunes into Eden, but lives in our complex, opened up her window and waved and said hi because they heard the kids. But I was like, man, that felt so good to be where I live, and people hear us and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" But that's what I think people are missing out in life, and that's why we push groups so hard, is because, man, you don't have to, all right, you don't have to live, but I think for a meaningful life, have people who know your voice, who want to say hi, hear how you're doing, and be involved with, what your life is.
Yeah, I think for me, like, I didn't realize how important community was until after I graduated college, because I didn't realize like how built in to the college experience, like, because I'm literally living with all my friends. And I remember in college checking out churches and stuff. Like, for me, I didn't really factor in community in something that I was looking for, because it's like, why do I need to join a group at a church? I already have like my fellowship at school or whatever. But after that, after leaving school, I realized that like, I'm not talking like, who am I going to see every week? Like, that's not, I realized like, to me, that's just as important as if I connect with like the messages, or if I like the like, to me, like, they're all up there.
Maybe more important, honestly.
I think so, more so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But
we probably, the sad reality. All right, Mark, we're gonna just
this is an
let this
indictment
out
of
the
ourselves.
bag.
Yeah.
I said if we're gonna make this meaningful, we gotta be honest.
The message and the music.
There are people
that's literally
who are here because of the
us.
relationships that they've made, and not necessarily anything else. Okay, we won't get specific about what else they're not here for, but you know what I mean. It's like those relationships will keep people connected, which they should. That should be the most important thing that people are here for.
Yeah, and if I'm gonna be honest too, like, really, there was this insecurity that I had going online, because in my mind, why would and this is me projecting my my insecurities out to other people, but in my mind, why would anyone come to tune in to us, to you, no offense, to you speak, or to me lead music, on us learning how to produce everything, when there is like, on a quality level, like, not saying anything about people's like theology or anything like that, but just like from a production standpoint, like, professionally done. And because that was something that I was always thinking about, is like, why go to any church when so much is available online? But community is like the one thing that is unique, that you can't get anywhere else.
That's it.
And so really, and I think going back to your point, that's why it is more important, because we're all singing the same songs every week. Like, for most of the churches around.
Wait, you're saying you don't write those songs that you sing?
I wish I did, but you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many songs that we sing, and a lot of people are singing the same top 100 CCLI songs. There's books, there's so many books in the Bible that you can have messages on, but community every week, like, everyone that's so unique and individual that God's created, like, there's only one of them, right? And so,
man, you just pumped me up, man. You're right, and I love our church. I really do. Like, when I look at the people that we have here and the leaders that we have, and just where we're at in this season, I don't know. I just like I love our church, but part of that is because of the personality of the makeup of this group, the dynamic of it. And I think, man, I love so many other churches in the world, but there's no other church that I would, but maybe that's weird coming from me because I'm the pastor, but I'm just like, man, if I was going to hang out with any other group of people, it would be like people in our church. I love our people.
But I think it's interesting too, because when you say I love our church, like, for me, I think of people. I don't think of like the building.
That's what I think of.
Yeah, because versus when you say like these other churches, right? Like, I'm not in there, so I don't know anyone there. So it's like, I only think of like the band,
that's
or
true.
the pastor. But yeah, I think there's something about being able to. Is it Cheers?
That's a really good.
Was it Cheers, where everyone knows your
everybody knows your name?
Yeah. That was really good.
Was it?
We're gonna get you on the band.
No, don't say that in front of everybody because I've already tried
I'm
to
putting it out there.
to get in the band and you looked away, Mark. You said you were busy.
Oh man. No, but I think it's true though. Like I think that everyone deep down
Yeah.
wants to be known, and as scary as that is, because
Yeah.
when you're known, like it is like you're being vulnerable with people. So
Yeah.
I get that.
No, and I think this is part of my fear is that I know who I am, and I don't want people to see that sometimes.
I totally agree.
I know who I am already. It's not about whether or not how they would perceive it. I know who I am, and I don't want people to know me in that way that would
so
keep
good.
me from being in there. But we would love to know too, like what are your Mark? How do we ask this question in the comments and stuff?
Yeah, send us a message. Our social media is at Eden the Church, or if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to drop something in the comments, drop your thoughts. We'd love to read them and continue the conversation with you.
Yeah. Any other insights you have about like, man, what are the barriers to people stepping into community? That stuff. I love hearing from our people because it always gives me insight to like the real struggle that people have. We have our ideas of what we think it is, but it may sound so different from the unique struggles that people actually experience. So stay connected. Let us know.
Yeah. But to that point though, it's like I've heard some like horror stories though, of people that have like gotten into community and it's just like it kind of scarred them, from wanting to be involved at that level because of like the hurt that's there. And I totally think that like if you're someone who feels like you've been burned by community, like that's your feelings are totally valid. Like that's a totally we get it. Like it's hard to try to step into something similar like that again. Like that's such a big step of faith. So I feel like if you are that person where you've been hurt before and you're considering doing it, like I totally get where that's coming from.
Dude, that's a great point. I feel like people wounds are like relational wounds.
Yeah.
Those take like 5 times as long to heal as like other types of wounds.
Yeah.
Other types of trauma. Because to build trust again, even not with the person who hurt you, but with people in general.
Yeah.
And so you know what? I affirm what Mark said.
Thank you.
Take your time. Maybe this isn't the right season for you. Maybe there's other types of healing that still need to happen in your life with other people. But I think the point is know that there are avenues to get connected, at least in this community, because we want people to be connected.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah. But I think what's really exciting too is like just finding like one of the things that I really valued in college was like the fact that I like one time during winter break, I was in San Diego with my family and I had a free day and I was just like, hey, like I have like my brothers in my frat that are at SDSU. So I just hit them up and I was like, hey, like I don't even really know them, but I was like, hey, I'm in the area. Is anyone there to hang out? And they like literally just like took me in.
Wow.
We like went on a hike. It was so fun and it was crazy because we were already had some sort of connection. Like we it was so much like those barriers of like trying to break down, like they were not there because you already know you feel like you already know so much about each other. And I feel like that was something that really spoke to me because it's like I would not have been comfortable just going into this situation where I didn't know anyone else.
Yeah.
And just trying to hang out with people that I didn't, who all knew each other too. So it's not just like no one knows each other, but everyone knew each other except me. And like just feeling like I already was was just so like comforting because it's like, oh shoot, I do feel like I know these people. And I think that is something that is so powerful about not just community as an abstractly, but like a community centered around Jesus.
Come on
because
now.
like we know that on some level there is just a lot that we already agree upon.
Yeah.
And I think like having that common ground is like really powerful too.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That really is so good. You know what, Mark? You might need to give a message on that.
Uh-oh.
Because that is, at least when you join a group, and I feel like I keep plugging this, but I feel like it really is why we do this stuff. it's like when you join a group, at least what you know is you have a bunch of imperfect people trying to make sense of the world and trying to take some steps closer to Jesus. And if you have nothing else in common, you at least have that.
Yeah. And even if you don't follow Jesus, we have a group for that too, because I'm leading that one. It's called Alpha. So if you're interested, sign up in the comments. We'll have a link. But yeah, even if you don't follow Jesus, like there is a group for you, and there's gonna be people who don't follow Jesus either. So we'll all hang out together. So
Yep. No, that's so good. Well, I think it's clear, Mark.
Yeah.
Community is good.
Yeah.
But how we build good community, I think, takes time and some experience and wisdom.
Totally. And it's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's not always easy. It's messy.
Yep.
But that's just part of the deal. Like that's just what we go through, and it makes you stronger.
Yep. Well, as kind of a next step for people, can we link our Eden stuff in the link it below, and then if they want to find out more information, they can.
Yeah, for audio only listeners, that's eden.church/groups. Feel free to see the list of all the groups we have this upcoming semester.
Yeah, we're blowing it up.
Yeah, there's a surfing group. That's crazy.
There's a surfing group.
Yeah,
that's gonna be awesome.
Sounds great.
So Mark will be out there with us one of these days.
You're really gonna see me at my worst.
Mark's gonna be busy that day. So, all right, man. Well.
But yeah, that was a great talk. But we'd love to hear from you. We can even make this our own little community. So feel free to chime in below. Send us a message at Eden the Church on social media, or comment below. Smash that like button and subscribe so that you get notified if you hit that notification bell of any time we upload a new video. And be sure to join us every Sunday, 9:30 and 11 o'clock at eden.online.church. We'd love to see you there in the online chat room that we have. We'd love to hear your thoughts every week. Anything else that I forgot to plug?
I think that's it, man. I hope we get to meet you someday, and if you're not already part of the community. And
and for our community, we love all of you. We miss all of you as well.
Yep.
But I don't know. This is just awesome that we get to still try to keep in contact with people.
Yep. And we'll do a podcast on the Speakeasy Church. I have an idea about that.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you next time.